Oui, super. Merci à tous. Donc, bienvenue dans welcome. Sorry, I'm just switching in English. Welcome in this presentation. Uh, I like to name this presentation the art of creating information supply chain, and I used to use before the future of applied artificial intelligence. I started my career working mainly on research, and I moved very quickly on applied. Applied AI is really amazing because if you can understand very quickly what is happening in the field of research in AI technology and you can apply it to solve real problem in real life, it's really amazing what kind of feedback and usage you can have. So my name is Gregory Renard, and you can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn. You've got the link here directly. Let's continue. I like also to use these two parts of the brain with the creativity and the mathematics approach, the math approach, um, because it's really amazing world where definitely you need to love the excellence level, but also be open to go out of the comfort zone and think out of the box, making creativity a lot. And I really like to think my work as being like an artist of maths, and you need to make it work at the end of the day. Um, so globally, too much stars on the jacket, and today I'm mainly working with Heiko. We are between Abu Dhabi, Dubai, London, Germany, and the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, focusing on applied artificial intelligence for good, of course, but also focusing on insurance and regulated domain. I'm also the co-founder of Align and Electricity, and working with Real Change team, who is really amazing, helping European companies to embrace this kind of technology. By the past and still now, I'm deeply involved at NASA with the Frontier Development Lab, and I'm very happy to be here and for Belgium, presenting and exchanging, and I hope that we will have the time after to answer some question and open the discussion, because I think it's very important now. Opening the discussion, education is really key for what is happening now about this crazy acceleration. I'm in the field from, I started working in the field of natural language processing in 92. And the acceleration we've got during the last weeks is really crazy. And we need to make sure that everyone can understand, integrate the technology, make sure that understand exactly what type of tool it is. And at the end of the day, it's a tool that helps us to solve one of the big problems we've got today. We've got too much information. We've got big data information. We are completely on overload. And the question is how we can manage this kind of information and this kind of data that is globally the web and everything you've got online with unstructured data for big part of this one. And thinking about information and knowledge that are in abundance and how we can use that one to make it useful for my daily life. And for that, we are creating data pipeline and data annotation, but they are very difficult. And so it's why we needed to move forward to another way with artificial intelligence. Before arriving in artificial intelligence, maybe understand how I started in the field. And I'm absolutely in love about knowledge and reading books. And that's how everything started when I was young, going to the library, the bookstore, and going and try just to learn. And I was so amazed at, wow, so much knowledge here that is available. And in 2015, I made the TEDx in Lille, in north of France, explaining about that I was thinking that artificial intelligence is certainly the continuity of human being, and certainly helping us to access the knowledge. You know, I like to take the fact that if you get a book, you can take the book and you can open the book to visit the knowledge like a prison. And for me, a book is like a jail for the knowledge. And the question is how we can freeze the knowledge. And by freezing the knowledge, we are helping people to have access to better knowledge, to take better decisions. And helping people to access better knowledge, to take better decisions, it's helping them to compress the time and solving a lot of potential problem or issue they've got in their life. And thinking about information and knowledge globally, we can see that in 1980, big companies were really old companies. And we moved to 1990 and to today. And when we are looking about what are the big companies today, there are mainly digital companies that really integrated at their core technology, big data, and I would say math, but we can call that artificial intelligence. And I don't really like, to be honest with you, the term artificial intelligence because we still don't know exactly what it means by being intelligence. And I think ChatGPT and this kind of technology that you certainly had too much information this week are also pushing the problem and the question again on the table. And it's very interesting to see that any company that is moving on data and putting data at the core of their strategy, they are globally successful. And because you can understand the world better, you can have better decision in just the reflection and the mirror about what is happening really. Because I will not let you I will not explain anymore, but AI is definitely the new electricity. So now it's done. We've got the world understood it. And so what now? What happened now, and how we can move forward, how we can use and how we can make sure that we can educate most people, because globally that was some numbers, if I remember. Sorry, some numbers here about what is the value creation, 13 trillion, and I think we are at more than that now. Just looking about the different domain, and if you are looking also about investment that are done in these different industries and domain, it's definitely a huge acceleration. When we are talking about huge acceleration, we can talk about the progress of knowledge and technology. And if you're looking about the progress from the creation of the universe, we can see this exponential acceleration. And we are here now with GPT-4 that globally costs something like some models. We had some numbers online explaining that it's something multi-million to train a model. In 2022, it moved to divided by 10 almost. And just a few weeks ago, we've got Alpaca from Stanford with a ChatGPT like 3.5 that was trained on $600. And this morning, when I was waking up here in Washington, D.C., I was looking about my news and I saw that another one that was just published online by a group of researchers from Stanford, Berkeley, and so other big universities like that for 300, with completely exponentially approach about what is happening with accessibility to knowledge. That will certainly redefine what is our purpose as a cognitive species. ChatGPT and Alpaca are really doing a lot of stuff. And it's very important to understand what you can do and what you cannot do with this type of tool. It's not a tool to give you access to knowledge directly. it's a tool that can help you to do amazing summarization. Just you don't have the time to read a long text. You can give the text and say, summarize it in a few words. And what we call in US TLDR, too long, I don't have the time to read it. And I'm using it daily, like TLDR, this link, TLDR, this text, and it's giving me directly the summarize to help me to save a lot of time. Coming back on time compression, it's kind of tool that can definitely help to compress the time. And you can also use this type of system. And I really encourage you to search online about prompt engineering. That is definitely a new category of engineers. And the good point, I would say that anyone who understands a domain or who understand how to phrase some explanation or question, and you can create prompt yourself very quickly. And you just need to learn how the machine is acting and what are the different elements. You've got so many documentation arriving on social network online with tutorials explaining how you can shape a good prompt to extract from the machine what you are looking for. So this kind of technology can do summarization, question answering also. You can provide text, long text, and start questioning the content. And translation. Translation is very good. And also it's not only translation from French to English or Dutch or German, it's also from a style to another one. You said, okay, write this text in a geek style, or write this text in a very professional or university style. And it's also this type of translation that you can expect. Because globally, how this one and this type of technology are built, it's mainly about they are moving from very large data. We call that foundation model. They had many time to the history, and also a point is the history is not so cozy. It's not like human history. It's when we've got discussion with friends, said that. And yesterday we had a dinner. I was saying, okay, it's a long time ago. It was something like a year. And because in all domain, as you saw during the last weeks, it's moving fast. I used to like to explain revolution when you've got a car and you've got a new car, you've got something like 8 years. When you got a model and a new model in all domain, before what happened the last weeks, we had something like a quarter to 3 to 6 months. But now it's again smaller than that. I would say that for the moment, revolutions, and many we will see after directly in the slide, but revolution are maybe something like 2 weeks to 2 months. And it means that you can definitely rethink your job. And the first job that is disrupted is my job. And I will explain you a little more about that. So we've got the data. We need to extract everything to go from the data that we cannot exploit directly to wisdom and to take the right decision at the right time. And the goal is also to have the feedback loop with the real world. And that was exactly how they make it for ChatGPT and based on GPT-3 at first. And moving with what we call the LHF, with like reinforcement learning by human feedback. That was some strategy that I started to apply 3 to 5 years ago in one of my former company, Xbrain, where we teach and we patented something like in this domain, teaching machine with human in the loop, thinking about this kind of approach. And as you are working on large language model, you can think exactly as you are observing your kids growing. First one, you are teaching language, when your kids got the language, you can think about teaching concepts. And when you've got concepts, you can think about, we need to move after on connection between the concepts. And after you can move at the next level with acting. And it's exactly the kind of approach. We've got the reinforcement learning with human feedback, with definitely the human in the loop, and people interacting with the machine and saying to the machine, you answered well or not. And I will explain you how we deploy already in production today for many years, this kind of technology in some of companies where I created the technology. The point also with, we call that the Instruct GPT, and it's also why you've got the price that is going down so fast, because you can use a larger model to instruct also a human. Think about, we've got people instructing the machine, but when the machine got high level, you can instruct a lower model with the machine, not anymore with the human. We mean that we've got completely an acceleration about disruption and how to move forward with the instruction of the machine. The point also is to launch with some safety approach and making sure that with the annotation, we are taking care about what the machine can do or not do. That's why, and we will come back on the ethic around our work after, but that's why we've got ChatGPT evolving, and sometimes you can ask some question and a week after, or maybe at the next release, it will not answer anymore in the same direction with more, I would say, safety. And the data long tail problem is really important to understand. We moved in something like 5 years from big data. 5 years ago, we needed to have a lot of data to teach the machine because we are directly on lower level, like deep learning level or machine learning level directly. And from big data, we moved to good data. I remember the point many years ago, I said, oh, I definitely hate annotated data. We need to do it. That's super important, but I had to do that in my daily job. And we started thinking about how can we help the machine to be more efficient about annotation? And we started thinking about active learning. Globally, you will not ask if you are at the capital of US or Belgium or France, if you see directly the White House or the Palais of Brussels or maybe the Eiffel Tower. You are asking if you are at the border. And the goal is exactly there. You need to have good data to understand exactly the boundaries of what you are looking for, what you want about the influence. And good data was something like 2 to 3 years ago that we had a big move. Some companies arrive in the domain in the barrier a lot. But it was not enough. We needed to think differently at this time. And that's why we moved to no data, what we can call the prompt area. And it's globally how we will use the machine to teach the machine definitely. And I think GPT and ChatGPT are really a good example on that one. And I really encourage you to look at some talk and papers and documentation from N1G on this fact and evolution about the different steps. And it's how we will move now more and more to concept and continuous learning. Because don't forget that for the moment, GPT and ChatGPT and this kind of approach, you've got a lot of, please also take a look about open source approach like Hugging Face, providing a lot of foundation model. We've got a lot of foundations models there where you can directly use it out of the box very fast. And we will have more and more generative AI models very quickly available. We can use that one to move forward on the fact that ChatGPT I will not present anymore. So it's a presentation I made for the first time few weeks ago. It was, I think, January, February, very early. But now I think everyone know and understand about that. That's super important to see the movement and how it's happening directly. A lot of elements arrived about what about education? Okay, but it's like the calculator. Globally, we can decide if we will use or not, but it's like the printer. And I encourage you to watch and to go on Twitter looking about Jan LeCun last publication about how some countries fail about knowledge because they did not embrace a long time ago in the far away galaxy about printer. And also taking care about hallucination, we need to be careful about hallucination on the models. Please double check all the time. Don't forget that it's a language model. Globally, a language model is just generating, it's a probabilistic model generating the next word globally. If I need to explain to my mom, it's exactly the point. It's a machine who is just predicting the next word, and the machine got a lot of probability, and the probability that is not taking the right direction is still very present. And also the machine don't have some knowledge to double check what it's writing. Some work from DeepMind that I really like retro with trivial information, using large language model, and as you are generating output text, the machine is double checking with knowledge to make sure that we are still aligned with the reality and we are not hallucinating. Another one is about capability to integrate that in your job. I was exchanging this morning with one of my friends, sending me an article about US, the market and hiring market, explaining that today a lot of job offers are already asking to have some experience or to be positive using ChatGPT, with really a big deal. It's moving fast, and that's clearly the reality here in US. Companies are moving very fast about embracing this kind of technology. They're understanding that it's a big win. Personally, I try to convince all of my coworkers to use ChatGPT in their daily life. We also agreed to pay to them the fee access, to expense the fee access to ChatGPT, because we see really a big capability to save time for our work and helping to move forward very quickly. Personally, I think over the last year, I certainly multiplied on all my tasks, and I will give you more examples directly after, but on all my tasks, I certainly augmented my productivity between 3 to 10. And we will come back after on this one. But this story is not so crazy. You know, at the end of the day, generative model arrive not so from they are not here from long time, almost 10 years. And moving forward, if you think about the paper on GPT-1, it was in 2018. Just to give you a reminder, 4 years. 4 years, nothing. We've got ChatGPT today with GPT-4. And we were already experiencing, for us, it was no surprise about. I was more thinking about we will arrive at the point that we will have a machine with knowledge representation behind. That is still not the case. Knowledge representation, it's like you've got large language model, and on the back end, you've got a knowledge like retro, as I explained you. with the capability to validate and confirm all the knowledge what you are exchanging with. And the huge acceleration we get from 18 to today, almost 4 years, until we arrive to ChatGPT plugin hitting now the web globally. That's what happened. It's the new iPhone, the new Android. You will have the possibility to dialogue directly with everything. And big acceleration in 4 years. Just take a breath and think about where we will be in 4 years, in 8 years. Let's be crazy in 12 years. Wow. It's like, wow. And just I don't know regarding what arriving in the press. To be honest with you, I don't know if we need to make a break or not, because think about, if you are making a break, is everyone will play the game and take a break to make sure that it's stopping. But in the same time, we need to regulate. Definitely, we need to regulate very quickly, and it's very important that. And I'm taking the opportunity to send a message to all the people in charge and in power in Europe, any country. Please take that seriously, and we are here to work with everyone, with you, and I'm not the only one. There is a lot of people that are directly here to help to better understand the technology, the implication, and how we can regulate that one very quickly, and making sure that it's for the best of the people and everyone. And talking about the best and for the people and I for good, just giving you quickly some implementation that I'm doing on the domain with large language model. Align is it was my COVID baby. To be honest with you, when COVID arrived, I said, okay, I will take the time, because it will certainly belong like 2 to 3 years, and I will take the time to deep dive on this kind of technology. I started zero-shot learning 3 to 4 years ago, really early when they arrived on the market. I said, that's exactly how we can represent part of how our brain is working. And zero-shot learning, you can see exactly, you remember the graph I showed you before, like big data, few data, zero data. Zero-shot learning is exactly this kind of approach. You don't need to provide data to the machine. You can come with what we call at this time a predicate that we can rename prompt globally, and you can provide a predicate or prompt to the machine explaining a particular type of class or information you are looking for. And you can use that one to do a lot, like question answering, but also inferences, and said, okay, are we finding this kind of information inside of this text? And that's exactly what we did 3 years ago with Align. It's a machine that you are coming, you said, okay, I would like to understand what are the values of this company, because one of the big problems you remember at the first slide is about information overloading, obesity. And we need to make a diet on the information, and how to make a diet. AI is amazing to help on that one, because the machine can read for us and extract the DNA of the information to help us to understand exactly what is important the ideas in. And Align is a platform to help the consumer and investor align their decision with their values. What you are doing, you are taking millions of articles online from a lot of brands. For the moment, we are monitoring 4,000 brands. And we did it 2 months over the summer, the last summer. We are reading everything regarding publication from the company and regarding news online and the community, and we can read everything. And in the paper, in the reports or in the news, we can extract if the company is pro or against LGBT, and or maybe pro or against gun or plastic recycle, or a lot of elements we are monitoring for the moment. 96 values and stance. And what I mean by stance is when you are pro or against. And it's a hard work. If you need to do that as a human, you need to read so much to understand everything happening around the brand regarding particular values you want to monitor. And that's what the machine is doing. The goal mainly is to give back the control to the people. Globally, companies know everything about you, but you don't know anything about the company. You don't know if you are buying a particular product, if this company is aligned with your value. And maybe you want to know if, okay, if I'm spending my money for this company, I would like to understand if I'm financing someone or a company that is aligned with my values. And if I've got 3 competitors, maybe I would like to choose the one providing the same product. I would like to choose the one who is the more aligned with my values. That's the goal about that. And helping the people to understand very quickly, remind time compression, understand very quickly what companies align with their value. So let's take an example. I'm using Apple a lot, and I don't want to make any advertising about the company, but just take the example. We were able for Apple to extract all this kind of information from online and focusing on some of them, and we can have directly in one page all the information about that. And also the history, understand about regarding the pro-gay rights, what is happening about the history, and saying that, okay, globally, the company is really well aligned with being pro for this value regarding being anti. Some other are more unclear about helping me to understand better about forced labor, and I believe you remember about this kind of information. Very interesting to see what happened, and also about the velocity, showing that Apple moved very fast on this point when they knew, and reacting all the time regarding the suppliers. And that's super, super interesting. At the end of the day, it's really about understanding, again, what are the values, and we want to provide. You can find the application on Apple Store and Android. You can download the application and see directly. The point with very interesting here is we are also providing the extraction. It's not only about giving you information about the company, but also the goal is we are not here to make any judgment. We are here just to make sure that we can show you what is happening and extracting the information. And after, it's in your hand to take the decision and the position about a particular company regarding your own values. You can imagine that it's directly aligned with the ESG RSE approach that we've got in Europe, and helping solving the problem at scale. And this machine, as I explained you, it's mainly about, we did not create a data to teach the machine. We did not provide a data, we did not labelize articles about pro or anti-LGBT or gay right. We explain to the machine what it means in natural language, in plain language, as we can discuss now, and we explain to the machine what it means to be pro or against LGBT in plain language, in English language. We teach the machine about that, and it's this kind of approach. It's super interesting because you explain the machine does the job, you take the output, and when you've got the output, you are providing the human feedback. You remember LHF that is used exactly on ChatGPT, same kind of approach. And globally, you get that, and the machine is continuously learning like that, continuously. And you need to interact with the machine and say, okay, you did a good job, you did a bad job. Exactly as you are teaching anyone. a human being. And you can explain, you are explaining a theory, and after you said, okay, let's try now, we will see what is happening and moving forward so far. That's the human in the loop and the continuous learning that we've got directly. And this kind of technology can be used also at different level. Another level that I used this kind of technology is for electricity.ai that we are launching this year. It's many focus, you saw Align is really focused on giving you more visibility about position of companies. And moving forward, also one point was super interesting with this kind of technology and architecture is how I arrived to create this kind of architecture of models based on zero-shot learning that now you've got this kind of technology in GPT and ChatGPT. It's also, I was scared about who I am to labelize and decide the type of data to teach a machine being poor against LGBT. And that scared me a lot about biases. I was involved at Princeton in a discussion group at EIS about the implication about the bias in the data. And I said, it's really core. It's thinking about and talking about values is really core. So we need to be super careful about how we are teaching the machine. And the good point with this kind of technology is because you are giving back the control to the domain people who know, because anyone can explain in plain language to a machine, exactly as you are doing today with ChatGPT. You can use ChatGPT. You don't need to be a data scientist. You don't need to have 30 years on NLP. You can do it exactly as you are doing with your wife, your husband, your kids, and anyone you want to teach. And it's exactly the point. And we were able, when the war arrived in Ukraine with Russia, we were able to teach the machine to understand companies working or not with Russia. And we just created the value working with Russia to understand if the machine was able to make it. We did it in 3 days. 3 days after the machine was completely fully ready to work at good level and reading papers, articles, and understand which company is pro or against working with Russia. But coming back on electricity, the goal is to use same type of technology, and you remember the title about supply chain of information. And you can use this kind of supply chain of information for ESG, RSE, but you can use also for learning, lifelong learning, which is really key now. And if you are following me on LinkedIn, you will see that I've got a lot of publication. And I was contacted by a lot of people saying, wow, how many hours you are spending a day to read everything and to write between 3 to 10 posts on your LinkedIn. And globally, I'm not spending so much time, between 15 to 30 minutes a day max, because I augmented myself completely with this type of technology. Moving forward, the first step is having a machine. It's multi-machines working together. We call that system 2. I believe you know system 1 and system 2 from learning, thinking fast and slow. Globally, the first machine is really focusing on learning who I am, my representation, having language representation. Language is everything. Language is really, I'm absolutely in love about language, because language is not only expressing ideas or intent or information, but it's also the mirror of the soul and representing who you are. And I presented 7 years ago at Deep Learning Summit in San Francisco some research about people to vec, how we can vectorize having a representation about the people, a person, based on the language, understand a lot of information about the religion, the political view, the skills, the mood, And we started a lab at Berkeley focusing on this kind of approach and using this kind of technology to work and support democracy. So we can extract who I am from my language, my history, just my Twitter account. And moving forward, we can have another machine that is taught by the first machine to go online and read all the papers for me, all the news for me. Extracting 1,000 news daily, reading everything, making a summary, sending to me the alignment with what type of information and ID and topics I would like to look at. It's about causing similarity, and we are computing the distance between my key topic and the key topic from the news. And after doing a lot of hosting, a lot of steps, it's a hard work. Creating a supply chain of information is definitely a hard work if you want. It's maybe a art, to be honest with you. And moving forward, from learning from you to reading and listening for you to empowering you with knowledge and social visibility. The point is, this kind of tool helped me to being an expert in my domain very quickly and staying at the good level because I don't need so much time. The machine will take care to make sure I will not read twice the same content. How many times you said, oh, okay, I already saw this information in another article. And okay, sometimes it can be good, but sometimes you say, no, I don't want to have repetition. And also social visibility we created thanks to generative AI. We already integrated a lot of elements about generation of content for publication online. So that's kind of results I wanted to explain you because the concept I would like to bring here is about hyper productivity. Hyper productivity is a key term you will learn more and more in the following weeks and years. But just think about using this kind of technology we started to implement on my side because I love to do dog fooding for everything. If I don't understand why we are creating that, it's meaning that maybe we don't need it. And starting by yourself and yourself is a good start before providing to anyone and asking maybe people to buy a product. And what we can see here, and my stats now are higher than that. And on March 23, I was at 5,000 and more grow on my visibility online. We mean that productivity multiplied by 50 with not human scalable. It's impossible to do that at human level. But with the machine, you can do this kind of element. And imagine when you are explaining to the people that you are doing that in 15 to 30 minutes a day, it's changing the game, definitely. So I really want to encourage you maybe to contact us directly on electricity and register, but also certainly to embrace this kind of technology for your daily life. And making sure, and we will come back after some other element, we use generative AI and large language model on a lot of stuff. I'm super lucky to be involved, and I was so happy to receive the award of 22 for NASA about my implication and my work regarding artificial intelligence on application for NASA. But globally, we were able to work on so many elements like detecting severe weather, helping more than 50 million people a year just about this kind of element. And more than that, last year I was working on Biden project for NASA that are supported by Biden. Sorry, it's not Biden project directly. It's project that are supported by Biden about hydrogen detection. We've got access to the world knowledge, and we want a researcher at NASA is spending something like 60 to 80% of their time just finding the information in the papers. How we can compress to 8%? Imagine what it means for the researcher. You mean that you've got more than 70% of your time that you can use to be creative. to think about and to maybe just go and take a walk and think about the problem. And we know that big ideas are coming when you're under the shower or just walking in the nature. And that's exactly how we were thinking. And we made good progress and publication about that, solving and compressing the time. That was so amazing to see the reaction of the people using same kind of technology that ChatGPT to find back the information, but based on knowledge graph, not only about language distribution. And don't forget that the machine is definitely unfair. It's why you definitely need to embrace it. While you've got a machine experimenting in the physical world, you can recreate a digital machine with the same kind of word and rules that can test itself. Imagine you've got virtually 1,000 machine testing, experimenting. You think about the reinforcement learning with human feedback. And you can also use, you remember what I explained you about alpaca. Alpaca is a llama from Facebook, if I remember well, that was retrained by reinforcement and self-instruct from GPT. And globally, you can completely accelerate because it's about computing. And if you've got 1,000 machine learning and merging the knowledge at the end, and if you are human, you need to do that, it's completely unfair. And it's definitely moving at scale very quickly. And this last element that I would like to show you, it's about, that was super fun because I think I met this one something like 2 to 3 months ago. And that was the state of the art on DALL-E. Accessing to Hugging Face, and thank you to Hugging Face, they are doing so an amazing work. And I'm so in love about everything they are doing, and open source is so important, mainly in this type of domain. And just look at that. In 1 year, we moved from Midjourney V1, March 14, 22. Look at the picture, and look at the picture, March 16, 23. Almost 367 days from now. And look at the quality of the last image. I believe you saw online, and we will come back after on some element around that. It's why it's very important also that you can take the time to read and understand what is the impact on the labor. Cognitive labor, first one, that will be definitely touched a lot. And you can embrace, or you can be replaced. It's why it's time to master or to be master. Sam Altman was writing 30,000 to get a simple iPhone app created, 300 for a plumbing job. So what will arrive in 28? So I will let you on that question. I would like that you can think about that. I think we will have a lot of change around element. You know, I'm not coding anymore without Copilot. I'm still coding a lot. I think 50 to 60% of my time is really dedicated to coding because I love to do that. And I wanted to come back to my roots. And just think about this kind of approach is increasing the productivity of knowledge workers. Think what I explained you for my social network publication, multiply by 50. And we can use this technology for the best and for the better, helping people to grow, and not only diminishing about the cost, but also helping people to extend, to learn new skills, moving fast. What I'm saying to my kids mainly is about, because it's a big question as a parent. You said, oh my, what is happening? I've got a daughter 20, a son 15, and a daughter 9. And I'm explaining, first one, you need to be okay to move fast and go out of your comfort zone. First one. What is true today is false tomorrow. And that's my job. My job will disappear, definitely. I'm like a dinosaur now. And I'm not kidding so much. And we need to move fast, and mainly in our domain, because this machine is doing an amazing, impressive work on teaching other machines. And the second one is about embracing technology. I think the two soft skills that we need to have is really the first one, be able to go out of the comfort zone. And the second one is working with the machine, understand how to work with. It's why prompt engineering is so important. Because the good news is I will not replace you. Definitely not, no. But the bad news is the person using AI will. It's why talent will matter even more. And regarding the last event we had over the weeks, we still need to define what it means by being a talent. That's why also I like to explain that through the time, I'm less and less thinking myself as a data scientist, but more and more as a sociologist. Because we need to understand human being better to create this kind of machine. We need to understand also about the sociology between the human and the machine directly. So maybe some action, I like to finish this presentation on some key action you can take in your daily life. Don't be afraid about AI. Position yourself as an AI vector. Go and embrace the technology. Think about the excellence level and the elegance level. You remember the second slide about the two parts of the brain. And regarding the action for the company, that was the first one for yourself, but for any company, think about cognitive and repetitive tasks. Look at your company, take all the daily work life you are doing, and try to automate everything like cognitive and repetitive tasks. You need to ask yourself, are you an AI company, or are you a company with a customer of AI company? Which is very important because you can take bad decision. I can make it too much easy sometimes. That's kind of reproach people are giving to me, saying, Greg, when we are discussing with you, it's like easy to do it. But don't be fooled, it's a hard work. And so just make sure about the decision you are taking in one or the other one direction. Think about short, middle, long term, of course. You need to have some people internally that are your AI champion. Think about small and fast to learn. Don't try to do too much crazy stuff. Just quick win, boom, you move forward. And that's definitely kind of work we are doing with the amazing group we've got at Real Change. Trying to support and help companies that want to move fast and forward, and making sure also that they can educate their teammates on the domain, because it's very important also to make sure that you've got the transition internally. And finally, I believe you also, and from yesterday, it's more than ever the case, but the fake information that maybe is becoming true. And I don't know, I believe you also the information yesterday, but it's a post I made a few days ago explaining, remember the new AI world we are living now. Always stay vigilant and double check any visual and text information you come across on social media. So be vigilant about that. More than ever. And it's so easy now to generate image. All these images you are seeing here are all fake. Globally, Trump was not arrested, and I don't think they are out in and playing golf together. So that's kind of information you need to be careful about that and double check information. Don't take everything directly as it is, because it's also another point we need to work on our end and with our community about what is the responsibility and social ethic. In 2018, with two of my friends, Aurélien and Stefan Dadian, we wrote the Alberton Turing Horse, thinking about, okay, as this technology is moving too fast, we need to make sure that we can provide guidance for the people, and we can make sure that because you don't know that you are doing wrong until you know you are doing wrong, and when you know that, you've got two choices in front of you. You can continue to do wrong, or you can move in the right direction. And the point is really that one, and how we can provide some guidance and principle about humanity and ethics, data science, art of artificial intelligence, privacy, personal data, and daily work and ethic for the people, exactly as the Hippocratic Oath, giving some guidance to the people, exactly as we were able to bootstrap inference research for humanity. And thanks to Nathanael, that you moved also in Belgium to do the same job after, and with the European Commission helping to move forward, making sure that we are not only accelerating on AI, but also taking care about the responsibility and the social ethic. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope that it was useful and open some chakra, that giving you some ideas about how to use this kind of technology. Please don't hesitate to reach me online on Twitter and LinkedIn directly, and open the discussion. Thank you. I'm seeing some question. I don't know how you want to proceed.
Hello, Gregory. Thank you very much. So I will take the question in the room. Do you have some questions? Okay.
Fake it until you make it.
Sorry, I see that I was maybe a little long. Sorry for that.
I have one question. I will repeat. Yeah. So, fail. Ja.
Spreken jullie Nederlands of?
Nee.
Maar waar ben je nu aan het spreken? Engels, Frans? We were talking English, right? So how do you marry the slide on fake it until you make it with the
Fake it until you make it. How do you manage this statement with Alberton declaration you did with Aurélie Jean? Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very important to.
Yeah, it's a joke for someone from the room.
Yeah, I think fake it until you make it is you. My recommendation is to move forward on the POC at first. You need to understand what you want to achieve, and when I'm thinking and looking about life cycle of creating this kind of technology and tools, you need to think about what are the different steps. The first step is definitely creating a POC and a proof of concept that you can use with a part of the fake it, because you can just focus on a particular part, that a particular element that you think is really the blocker. And when you solve that, you can move to the final product, and you can start doing some first demo, applying to the time. It's really about the life cycle, bootstrapping from nothing, accelerating, and coming to the plateau with a final product in production. Because there is a big difference between doing an experimentation in a lab and moving at scale in production. And I think it's one of the crazy challenge OpenAI gets, and Microsoft also deploying this kind of technology at scale. And certainly also Google companies around that. I hope it answered the question. Any other question?
Yes, that's okay. I have a question on the chat. Maybe you've already seen it, Gregory. What about using knowledge tools for bad values or bad purpose? And what about fake news and the way they are treated by such applied AI?
Yeah, that's exactly the point of the last slides. And I think it's a big element we will need to manage as a society, because fake news and fake pictures can be so cheap. You know, just a year ago, it was super expensive if you wanted to create this kind of fake picture. And now it's like a prompt with a few seconds to make it work. So in this case, I absolutely agree. I don't have the answer. I can just explain and show the problem, and we need to work together as a society on this kind of element. Microsoft starting to provide some token using blockchain-like approach, making sure about the authenticity of a source or authenticity of maybe a picture. But definitely, as you will have people using for the good, you will certainly have people using for the bad. And it's why, at the end of the day, education and lifelong learning to explain to the people what it means is certainly key. You can explain to the people the danger of that one. And it's why also kind of event as you are doing for Belgium, it's super important, because we need to teach to the people, we need to explain. If you don't know, you don't know. But if you know, you can take the right decision for yourself. Any other question?
Thank you, Gregory. Maybe one last question. You've seen the petition from Joshua Benjo, Elon Musk, and so 2 days ago. And we just learned that Italy has forbidden the use of ChatGPT today. Okay, what's your opinion on that? We cannot avoid talking about this late news, because also in Belgium, we anticipate this in the opening session, but also we have had many different debates during the week around, and that was also the purpose of Peter Insen, around the disruption, the things go fast, and there is never normal. So can adapt to the new usage. What's your opinion on that?
That's a big question, and we don't have the feedback yet. It's too early to give the final answer. I don't know if we've got a final answer on that, but definitely there is something between what happened, and I signed personally also the paper, to be honest with you. And in the same time, if you are looking about the tweet from Jan Lucken explaining that countries that did not embrace the printer failed, and the civilization failed directly, and it helped. I think it's good to discuss with historian people who've got more knowledge and more feedback than us on this kind of point than technologists like me. Definitely, I'm between. I think that we need definitely to have better governance around this kind of technology, because it's really powerful. You know, it's like, are you accepting to have nuclear energy in the street or weapons in the street? I think we answered that already. It's easy answer. So let's make sure that we've got this kind of technology in the same type of group. But in the same time, if as European countries or US countries who are stopping this technology, other countries will not stop. And it's something that you need to embrace than rejecting. I think it's exactly like the calculator. You know, I like to explain for any technology, you've got three phases. The first one is, oh my, it will never work. The second one is, we will all die. And the last one is how we did before that. And now we are maybe on the phase that some are thinking about we will all die. But in a few, we will say how we did before this kind of technology.
Thank you, Greg. Maybe one last question before we give the floor to Roald Sieberath, you know well also. One last question. From the audience.
Well, I want to give also some insight. So if I understood well, Italy has now banned the use of chat, open and so forth. Wow. Well, my insight, as if I may, as coming in from cognitive sciences, listen, 1% of humanity has an antisocial personality disorder, okay? That has 4 axes. These are the narcissists, the psychopaths, the Machiavellianists, and the sadists, okay? And they will always try to create a pathocracy. But the 99% of us humans are normal people who want to do good, who have a passion in life and so forth. And we will not abuse these technologies like ChatGPT, or what is the name? ChatGPT. Thank you. So I don't think I wonder if that is not a little bit overstretching. We must claim our space back and put all these and identify these people with an antisocial personality disorder who push us in wars, who push our democracies into autocracies and so forth. We must not let ourselves be intimidated by them. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Gregory, it was a pleasure to have you here. I hope you will come next year during the Belgian presidency of the European Union, because it will be huge. And we will have now the pleasure to welcome Roald. Do you have a last word?
Thank you so much.
Great you've been with us today.
Yeah,
that's great.
Thank you so much.
Come to the opening at 4 if you have time. 4 GMT plus 1. You are in Washington today.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you, everyone. Bye.